Hello guys, how are you doing? Today I've got another one for you. I'm going to go through my exact search criteria. So I've got everything that I do written down, everything that I think when I'm looking at a product, what goes through my head, everything that I think of to say, is this going to work? Is that going to work? Should I discount it because of this factor? How do I look at all the measurements? What sales do I look at? What reviews do I look at? How do I judge competition? All of these different things I'm thinking of when I'm looking at products. I'm going to document here today. I'm going to go through every single point, and then in the next couple of videos I'm actually going to use these to find products with you through Jungle Scout, through other methods, and show you exactly how I do the entire process of finding a product. So I know so many of you guys struggle with this process, so I'm going to make kind of like a series or just a couple of YouTube videos that I'm going to go through actually finding a product step by step, everything that I actually think of when I'm looking for a product, so you can almost like mimic and copy what I do to find a product to launch your Amazon FBA business. Just a little secret for you before we get started. Everything I'm going to show you from the Word document I'm going to go through and all the different tips I'm going to use are taken directly from the Word document that you get if you was to purchase the new course I'm coming out with. 35,000 Word document, everything about Amazon FBA in a Word document if you're interested. So obviously the course is still in the beta stage if anyone's interested in that. It is the first link in the description, around 170 odd videos long, so nobody is showing you Amazon FBA this detailed. So if you want to go check out the beta stage and just look where it's at the minute, probably more to add, but if you want to check that out, it is the first link in the description. So just with that in mind, like, comment, share, subscribe. Obviously this video is going to be quite in depth, so I hope you will enjoy it, and I hope you subscribe to the channel by just seeing the content I'm trying to put out for you guys to help you as much as possible with your Amazon FBA journey. So with all of that said, let's get straight into the video and look at exactly what I look for when I'm trying to find products. So guys, as I said, this is actually a snippet taken from the course document. So you do get the 35,000 Word document when you get the course, and this is a bit of it that I've taken out now to make this YouTube video. So we're going to look at what products are we looking for. So these are the requirements that I kind of look for when I'm using the Jungle Scout web app maybe, or just when I'm looking at the numbers of a product on the Jungle Scout Chrome extension. What am I thinking and what am I kind of ruling out as I'm looking at it? So the first thing we have is the requirements, and that starts with sales. Obviously, sales is the most important thing. If your product like doesn't have any sales, there's nothing you can really do about that. You can have 1,000 reviews, you can have a £2,000 listing, you can have it optimized to the max that it's better than any other listing on Amazon. But if there's no demand for your product, you're not going to sell a thing, okay? So we need to have some demand for our product, and I'm sure you've probably heard other people say this, and that's because it is true that I normally like to go for a minimum sales of around 250 a month. Anywhere from like 200 to 250 is fine. If you have maybe a lower budget around like the £1,000 mark, something like that, you might want to look between 200 sales and 250 sales. It really depends on the product. So don't take 250 as the absolute minimum. Just play around with it a bit. Just be yourself, mess around, see how it goes. But normally 250 sales minimum a month, it is a good place to start to make sure your product has enough demand and you're going to get good sales basically. So we want to start at that 250 sales minimum per month. These requirements, guys, by the way, no specific order, just in like any random order. So don't look at them as in order as like this is the most important, then this, just any random order is fine. The next thing I look at, especially when I'm looking at products just to find through other research methods and when I'm looking at them on the Jungle Scout Chrome extension, is the weight and the size of the product, okay? And for anyone who doesn't know, this is really important when we're thinking about the Amazon FBA fee. So how much is Amazon going to charge us to pick, pack and ship this product? So if our product is maybe a bigger weight and is larger in size, they're going to charge us a higher FBA fee to ship and pack and do these things for the product, because obviously it's going to cost them more and cost them more labor to be able to do it for these bigger products. So this is when we kind of get into the realm of standard size products and oversized products, and I have the dimensions and all of those things in a second about what defines a standard size and oversized product. But we need to basically think about this. If you're looking at selling an ironing board, for example, just a random example there, that would probably be oversized. It's very big, it's very long. It's probably going to cost you quite a lot in FBA fees for Amazon to ship and pack that product. So it might be something you want to avoid. If you're selling, for example, a tennis ball randomly, that's probably going to be a very small item, a very cheap FBA fee, and it's going to be better for you. By no means am I saying you should only look at standard size products. There's plenty of good products to be found in the oversized area because not very many people are looking at them. But just for the most part, if you're just beginning, your first product might want to be a standard size just so you have a lower FBA fee. And of course, the weight and the size of the product will affect your shipping. So if you have a very small and light product, you can ship by air because it's going to be cheaper for you. If you have a bigger and more heavy product, it's going to be way too expensive for you to ship by air and you'll have to ship by sea. Obviously, air is very helpful for if you're going to run out of product, if you're going to run out of inventory, should I say. Air can be very useful to get back in stock quickly. So all these different factors you've got to kind of think about, but normally for your first product, standard size is very good. And let's just go on to what defines a standard size, okay? So this is actually from Amazon. We define this package as under 12 kilograms or less in weight, 45 centimeters or less on its longer side, and 34 centimeters or less on its median side, and 26 or less on its shorter side, okay? So anything exceeding this, especially 30 kilograms in weight, will not be fulfilled by Amazon. You can actually read through this. I don't want to read through it word for word, it would just take a while, but these are the requirements for the standard size and oversized products if you want to actually know for sure. Obviously, you can take the ASIN of the product and search it in the Amazon FBA calculator to find out your exact FBA fee if you wanted to, but that's just going over the size of the product and the weight of it, which I normally take into consideration when I'm looking at products. Next, this is kind of a big one for me. We have the competition. And if you've watched my last video, I talked about US sellers giving UK sellers advice, not specifically targeting UK sellers, but UK sellers watching them and taking that as advice to use in the UK market. So all the US sellers that I've seen, they always say a maximum of 25 to 50 reviews on the first page. You want the top 10 sellers to have no more than that, and I think everything along these lines. In my opinion, that's not going to work for the UK. I would be astounded if anyone found a product with those numbers in the UK that's not gated and is a perfect product to launch. There may be some, but it's very, very unlikely to find a product with less than 25 to 50 reviews on the first page in the UK. So in my opinion, the way that we should look at competition in the UK is slightly different. So just a question to you guys straight away. Why do we define competition based on reviews? Why is that the only thing you use to gauge competition? That's not how I like to look at it. I like to look at it a bit differently, okay? So as a general rule of thumb, it doesn't particularly fear me when I see people with hundreds of reviews. If a product has obviously 300 reviews, 500 reviews in the different sellers, of the top 10 sellers, each of them all have over 100 reviews, then yes, that's obviously going to be a bad sign. But if I look at the first page of a product and there's people with 20 reviews, 70, 120, maybe there's someone there with 300 reviews, this doesn't really worry me so much, okay? The thing that would worry me more is if the person with around 300 reviews is getting all the sales and the people with lesser reviews aren't getting that many sales, a considerable amount less, as this kind of shows a market dominance, okay? And that is something definitely to be wary of, is if obviously the person with high reviews is getting more sales than everyone else. That's something you want to avoid. And just any market dominance in general, if you're seeing one seller get loads and loads and loads of sales and the other everyone else isn't, it is a sign of market dominance, and that's something you want to avoid unless you can pinpoint exactly why that person is getting so many more sales. Is their listing considerably better? Have they bundled their product? Is everyone else's listing just completely shit? It's the same generic product. Maybe that's why they're getting more sales. But in general, you kind of want to avoid the market dominance by reviews. But when I'm looking for products, as I said, if people have a lot more, it doesn't really scare me as long as everybody is getting the same amount of sales. If I've got a person who's got 700 reviews and I've got 3 more people under him who have 20 reviews and they're all getting the exact same sales, I literally could not give the slightest shit that person has 700 reviews because it's clearly not affecting the sales of the product. So that doesn't really matter. Going on to the fact that I said, why do you judge competition based on reviews? Instead, obviously the reviews does gauge competition. You should look at it that way. But look at your competitors' listings. Go through and look at them all. If they have all got, if you look at the LQS, the Listing Quality Score on Jungle Scout on the Chrome extension, if they all have 4s and 5s for their listing, and if you go and physically look at their listings, and you can see they have one picture, they've got 5 bullet points, they're all a sentence. Is their description just a block of text? It's not HTML coded out, so you've got bold text, it's all broken up and things like that. if they've got terrible listings, then does that make them good competition because they've got 500 reviews? Or does it mean that you could come in with a fresh listing that's absolutely beautiful and stunning, that even though they have that many reviews, you could still compete with them, okay? So we want to judge competition based on our competitors, how much they care, how does their listing look, what's their product like, what's their product reviews like, what's their reviews like. All these different things factor in to competition, not just reviews. So that's kind of how I like to look at competition. And if I was looking at the Jungle Scout web app, I would say maybe 150 to 200 reviews or less is something that I would be looking at on the Jungle Scout web app to try and find products. So that's how I kind of gauge competition and how I would look at it, and kind of the minimum or like the maximum, which I should say, I would look at on the Jungle Scout web app. But of course, play with this, chuck it up to 250, 300, chuck it down to 100, just see what works for you. So as I said, there can be someone who has like the whole first page can have 100 reviews, but if they're all like completely terrible and you can see people with 20 reviews getting the same sales, then why does it matter? You should look on the Jungle Scout web app for people with higher reviews. Set it to 300 and lower and see how that works for you. Really mess around with it, and you're going to find products that other people won't find because they're sticking to like generic search, what's it called, like search filters, and they're following the US kind of template that doesn't really work in the UK. So the next point I go on to talk about is diversification. So how easily can your product be differentiated? Can it be bundled easily? Can it be can the design be changed? Can you do an add-on or something like this? Can you add an ebook with it? All these different things are like things you need to think about. Can you build a brand from your product? And what I mean by this is stuff I go into talk a lot in the course about advanced marketing techniques. Is about using Instagram, using influencers, building like your Facebook profile and Facebook ads and things like that. Is your product good for that? So if I was, for example, selling a I don't know, maybe a bath curtain thing, shower curtain, should I say? That it's not really like targetable on Facebook, you know. But if you was building something or a product in the automotive industry, it's really good to target. You can bundle that. You can target audiences with that. You've got to think about all these things and how much can you diversify your product from your competitors. If you can see a product where everyone's getting good sales and you think, I can really easily bundle this product with this, or I can differentiate it like this to really just completely blow out my competition and change the product completely, they're no longer really your competition. If you can do that and then you have a beautiful listing, you're selling something different to them. So you're not really competing on the same playing field as them. You're a step above, okay? So as I say, like to a lot of people, diversification and bundling, if I can bundle a perfect example I've just thought of, if you're selling a tennis ball and you can bundle that with one of those like big long like fuck off chucker things where you can lob it 9 mile, if you're bundling with that, and that bundle, maybe it costs the supplier 20p to add that chucker, and for that you can charge an extra £1.50, you are bundling, you are differentiating yourself, so you're going to get more sales and you're making more profit. A differentiation and a bundle is a win all around, and you should always try and do this. If you're selling the same generic products as everyone else, and I'm going to make a video specifically about this, there's nothing separating you apart from your price, reviews and listing, okay? So then it just becomes a race to the bottom on price. So diversification and seeing how easy this is to do with a product is a very big point you need to focus on. So moving down a bit further, the quality of reviews. As I've said before, does your competitor have 500 reviews? If so, okay, great. Is every one of those reviews 1 star? Great. Their 500 reviews is as good as nothing, okay? We need to look at the quality of the reviews as well as the amount. So how good are their reviews on their product? If they do have bad reviews, go and look at their 1-star reviews. If, for example, they are, let's stick with this tennis ball example. Everyone's saying the tennis ball is really, really hard. It breaks within 10 seconds. Really shit, don't buy it, okay? If you can see that on your competitor's listing, you want to go to your supplier and say, I want it to be softer, I want it to have a bounce from a drop when it comes back at least this high, I want it to be durable, I want it to be withstand like this kind of pressure, all these different things, and you want to improve on your competitor's bad points, and then you want to outline these in your bullets, in your description, all these different things. I'm probably going a bit too in-depth even though here, guys, like explaining stuff I'm sharing in the course. So these are things you want to look at: quality of reviews, how good are they, and this is also going to judge your competition. So if everyone else has 5-star reviews, great reviews, let's say, it's going to be harder for you to compete. But if they have some like bad points. It's going to be easier for you to compete, easier for you to improve on, and this can tie in with your differentiating and your diversification point, okay? The next point I want to go on to when I'm looking at products, what I'm looking for is simplicity, okay? So, same example, a tennis ball, that is extremely simple, okay? If I'm going to sell a lamp, for example, that's a bit more complex. It has electrics, it could have batteries. If you're selling, I don't know, I'll get an example, but something with moving parts, there's a lot more that could go wrong. There's a lot more that could fail. There's a lot more stuff that could break in shipping. You're going to get more returns and things like that. And especially when you first launch your product, you're only allowed a certain amount of returns, and like an order defect rate is called, which I think is like, might be like 3-5%, maybe even 2 or 1%. It's something around that if you exceed that, Amazon will like ding your account and they can suspend you for having like too high of an order defect rate. So these are all things you need to look at in just like the simplicity of the product. The simpler, the better. Obviously, if you find an amazing product is a bit more difficult, you've got to weigh up the opportunity against the risk, okay? So that goes on to the next thing, which is the potential risk. That does really link in with the simplicity of the product. So if I'm looking at a product, I'm thinking, right, what's the potential risk of me launching this product? Does it have batteries? Is it electrical? Could it cause harm? So, for example, if you're selling a knife, that could cause like harm to people. So we need to take into account the potential risk factor when we're looking at these products. If, for example, you are selling a knife and someone slips and it goes straight in their throat and they completely bleed out and die, that's going to be a slight bit of a problem to you, to be honest, isn't it? It's not going to go greatly for you. So we need to think of the potential risk. If you're selling electricals, they could catch fire, cause like, obviously this is like a bit far-fetched, it's probably not going to happen, but they could like pop when you plug them in, be a big spark and a pop, and it could blow a fuse, like all these different things. So if this is a factor and like you do have a high potential risk of your product, then we need to think about liability insurance, product liability insurance to protect you, and these different things that come into play when we have these products, as well as the higher like return risk and all these things, higher order defect. We need to take this into account. That are we willing to take the risk that this could happen? Are we confident our supplier is going to make sure that we have the best product? Are we going to get product liability insurance? Are we sure we're not going to get too high of an order defect rate? Their account is going to get suspended. Is the product worth all of these risks? You have to weigh that up and think about it. So moving on to the next thing that I look at the category. So is the product in a gated category? If so, how difficult is that category to get ungated in? Is it easy? Then yeah, I'll go for it. If the category is harder, so health and personal care, maybe not the easiest category to get ungated in, but if I think this product is absolutely amazing, it's an outstanding opportunity, is it worth me trying to go and get ungated in those categories? Obviously, I go through how to get ungated in all of these in the course, so that's perfect if you're interested in getting ungated in those. That if you do find a product in these categories, you can go and get ungated and sell that product. Obviously, if you're looking at gated categories, there are a lot more opportunity in them because less people are looking in them. There's less like sellers trying to find products, so there is like great opportunity in there. But you just need to think about it. Is it worth your time to try and get ungated and try and do all of these things in those categories? We need to look at that and weigh it out. Probably for your first product, you might want to just look at something easy, simple, very basic, just to get the ropes of Amazon. But we need to know if it's a gated category anyway when we're looking at a product. The last thing you want is to go and buy a product, have it come in, and then realize it's a gated category, or like obviously make your listing, make the order, and then Amazon tell you need these requirements. So we don't want to go through that. We want to know straight away, is it gated? What are the requirements? Is it worth it? We then want to look at brands, and brands is very important, okay? I'm not sure if I have an example here or not. So yeah, I've actually got an example written down here. So obviously any products I mention in this video, they're not good products to launch. I'm just using them as examples. If I chose for some reason to sell nappies, it would be a terrible idea on my part, because if you go ahead now and you go onto Amazon and you look at nappies, look at the actual brands that are selling them. You'll see brands like Pampers, okay? And obviously us in the UK, all you see is like Pampers adverts, or at least I've seen like quite a lot of them around there. They're quite a well-known brand. So if I was to sell nappies, if I differentiated them, if I bundled them, if I had a beautiful listing, if I did everything perfectly, Pampers would beat the shit out of me. There's no way you're going to be able to compete with a big brand like that, no matter how good your stuff is, okay? That's just like, think of it in terms like that you understand. What kind of stuff do you like? Are you into headphones, okay? If you're going to make an amazing like headphone, can you now compete with Beats and Bowers and Wilkins? I think that's one. Bang & Olufsen, like these kind of brands. If you create an amazing headphone, can you compete with them? Probably not. If you're into cars, if you now go ahead and start a car company and think, I have literally made the best car in the world right now for family sedans, are you going to compete with BMW, Mercedes, Ford, Volkswagen? No, because they have a strong brand. So we need to look at the brands. Are there any known brands? Can we compete with them? We need to think about this. And if you're not sure that it's a known brand, a little secret for you guys, if you take that brand name, search it in Google, see what comes up. Do they have a big website? What other products do they sell? Look at their Amazon store. Do they sell other products in that niche? So if they do sell like 10 other products just in that niche, they might be like a strong brand in that niche. We need to try and think about these things when we're looking for products. So let's move on to price, and price is like very important. So as I said, this list isn't in order at all because price is very important. If I was looking at the Jungle Scout web app or products to launch, we normally want to find products between like £14.50 and £30. And the reason I say £14.50 is because when we set a minimum price on the Jungle Scout web app, we don't want to go for £15 because many people list their product for £14.99, £14.97, maybe £14.75. In fact, we could probably go ahead and list this for like £14.40 because many people go and do £14.49. So we just want to try and capture all these other prices that other people aren't going to see, basically. So this is kind of the price range I would look at, and this is widely dependent on your budget. If you have £1,000 to start, you might want to look at this price and maybe even lower than that, okay? If you have £2,000 to £3,000 or even more to start, you can start to look in the £20 range, you know? So you have to set your targets and be realistic about what you're doing when you're searching for products, okay? So here's like, I actually want to explain to you why I'm picking these price points. Instead of just telling you why, I'm actually going to like explain it to you like so many other people don't do. So let's go through it. Basically, this price range, let's just make it easy. £15 to £30 is the sweet spot, okay? If you're looking for products in the £50 to £60 range, or the like lower than that, the sweet spot is basically that someone can go on and they can make a instant purchase, okay? If it's £50 or higher, or like £40, you might have to think about it. You might add it to the cart and then not really come back. It's something you have to talk about your other half for. You might think about it more. It's a bigger purchase that you're going to have to think over, you know? So if it is like £20, I can go on Amazon right now and buy something for £18 and not really think about it. If I'm buying something for £40, £50, I'm less likely to make that instant purchase, okay? So that's why that £15 to £30 range is kind of the best spot to be in, because we can get the impulse purchases, okay? And there's not too much thought that goes into it. That's kind of why you want to go for like below £30. If you go below 15 though, or maybe even below 10, this is where it gets kind of difficult to turn a profit, okay? Especially when we're thinking about PPC. So few people think this far ahead, but PPC is such a big thing for me, and I want to say it's probably like the thing I'm most interested in, and it's the thing I most try to specialize in is PPC and my PPC like methodologies and the things I like to look at in PPC about how I optimize it and get those negative, like less than 1% ACOSs. If you have a product that is, I think I've even got an example here. So if we're selling a product for £25, as you probably all know, we estimate a 5% PPC budget, okay? So that means that we can spend £1.25 to get a sale. Perfect. That is quite a high bid that we can like go for to try and get a sale, okay? Alternatively, if we're selling a product for £15, we can only spend 75p to get a sale if we're trying to keep within this 5% PPC budget. So as you can see, when we're selling a lower product, we have less money that we can spend on PPC to get that sale. And the difference between a £15 and £25 product, some of you might think, well, yeah, but it's going to cost more to get someone to buy a £25 product. I don't particularly think it is. I think if someone's going to buy a £15 product, they're probably going to buy a £25 product. There's not much difference between them. So it's easier with PPC. If you have a £10 product, that means you're only going to have, what, like 50p per product that you can spend on advertising to get a sale. And for those of you who do PPC, you'll know that the average cost per click for a product, or for a keyword should I say, is around 50p or higher. It's very rare you're going to get a keyword that you can bid on for less than that unless it's quite a longer tail one. So obviously I'll go in to break this down in great detail in the course, but to try and get a sale just for 75p is going to be very, very difficult, and it's going to make it so much harder on your advertising and PPC if you're selling a product for less than £15. So that's why I wanted to go above 15 and we want to go below 30. So explain it to you in great detail here, guys. I really hope you're understanding this. So the next point, if the product is above like the £30 kind of mark, it's going to cost a very large upfront investment. You've got to think of it even as buying it from China. If a product is £30, you're looking to sell it on Amazon, how much is it going to be from China? If you're looking at a £10 product, it's going to be a lot less than a £30 product when you're looking at suppliers. So obviously, this higher price when we're looking to sell, the product is going to cost more from China. It's just like the nature of it. You're not going to find a £30 product that you can get from China for $3, okay? So if you are going to look at that higher price point, you need to have quite a large budget to be able to buy the inventory necessary to sell that kind of product. A £30 product might well cost you maybe anywhere from $7 to probably around like $10, if not more. Maybe $7, $8 plus from Alibaba. So you're going to need a lot bigger upfront investment if you do want to sell a product even around the £30 and up range. So that's something we need to take into account, as well as the VAT and duties, because it may well be like, fine, you think I've got £3,000, I can spend this much money and get a product that I can sell for £30 and borrow the inventory. But then you've got to think, if I'm spending £2,000 on inventory from China, there's 20% VAT on that. So what's that, like £400? Is it? Yeah, £400 on top of that. Then you've got duties on top of that. So you've got to like account for all of these things, that if you're looking at higher priced products, you better damn well have a big budget to go along with that to like back up what you're thinking. So that's something very important we need to think of. And then obviously, I've already said this, but we set the minimum $14.50, so we find the products of like $14.99 and like these kind of points. So I did already go over that. Moving on a bit further, other things to look at for the price, okay? So if I'm looking at a product on the Jungle Scout Chrome extension, I want to see, are all the products priced the same? Often you'll see a product on Jungle Scout Chrome extension, say if we're looking at tennis balls, for example, there might be a product they're selling for $5.99, then the one below it is going $9.99, then there's another one for $2.99, then there's one for $16.99. We need to look at this, and we can't just go in and think, okay, I'm going to sell my product at this price point and go for it. We need to understand, well, why the fuck is that guy selling $2.99 and the guy 5 listings down is selling $10.99? What's the difference here? Why are they doing that? How is that happening? Is it a better quality? Is their listing better? Do they have better reviews? Is it a different size? Are they bundling? Are they differentiating? All these different things. We need to know this to understand our market, okay? If the product is selling for $10.99 and everyone is selling for that price, if we can bundle, if we can differentiate, if we can change it, if we can have a better listing, then we can maybe think, okay, even though this product is selling between £10 and £12, if I do this, I can make this product worth £15 to £16, so that I'm then like within my price range that I want to be in. So we need to take this into account. We need to look at the market, and we need to understand why our competitors are doing what they're doing, okay? So still moving down a bit further, as I said, guys, I'm going really in depth, and this is the nature of the course that I'm like now making. And like I said, first thing in the description, if you want to check it out, it is this in depth about every single topic. So who is the seller? This is like very, very important. We're looking at the Jungle Scout Chrome extension. You will know like the sellers tab, we can see FBA, we can see FBM, and we can see AMZ. So obviously FBA, this is us, this is private labelers, this is fulfilled by Amazon. So we send our product to Amazon, they pick, pack and ship it, we get prime delivery eligibility because they're doing it, okay? If there is FBM, that's fulfilled by merchants. So if you ordered your goods from China and they came to your house and you fulfilled them, you sent them to the customer when it's sold, then that's fulfilled by merchant. You don't get prime delivery of that because Amazon can't guarantee that the product's going to get to them within a day. They're not going to allow me to ship the products and say, oh yeah, it'll be prime delivery, because if it arrives even a few days late, it hurts their credibility. So in most cases, you don't get prime delivery if you're FBM. So normally FBM listings will be ranked like lower than FBA, but that's for a different video. So we need to understand this, okay? Why do we need to know this? Why is it important? If you're looking at a product and it has all FBM sellers, okay? This is a warning sign. Amazon's been around for too long now for you to find a product that's all FBM sellers and think, oh shit, I found a product that no one else has found, and no other single person who's doing Amazon has thought, I can do fulfillment by Amazon on this product. No, they haven't. Loads of people have found this, and there is a reason why they haven't gone for fulfilled by Amazon. If you're looking at a product and every single person is fulfilled by merchant, there is going to be a reason for it. Is it too big? Is it oversized? Is there something, maybe it's like the problem with the product that is like gated, or probably not like gated, but you just need to understand, why is every single seller FBM? There is a reason for this. It's not just because no one has thought about doing FBA. It's not because you're the first person to ever find this product that's thought about doing that. It is a warning sign, okay? Going on to look at the AMZ listings, if a product has a single AMZ listing, which means Amazon is selling the product on like their Amazon Basics brand, that isn't really a warning sign for me. I don't really care about competing with Amazon as long as it's even. For every single one of these points, we need to be looking at market dominance. If there's an AMZ listing and they're doing 10,000, or shall I say 500 units a month, and everybody else is doing 10 to 15, then yes, I don't want to compete with that. There is a clear market dominance towards Amazon. If there is an AMZ listing that's doing 500 units and every other fucker selling that product is also selling 500 units, literally do not care that is an AMZ listing. Why does it matter? Why does it matter at all if everyone's getting the same sales, okay? If there is 3 AMZ listings and there's 3 FBM listings and there's 4 FBA listings, all of them are getting the same sales, couldn't care less, okay? You need to look at it in that kind of perspective, in like market dominance, and you need to understand why people are getting these sales, okay? So if there is an overwhelming bit of FBM, there's a reason. I would probably avoid it. If it's overwhelmingly AMZ, I'd probably avoid it. If it's a mixture, it's fine. If it's all FBA, it's fine. So these are things we also need to look at when we are looking for a product, okay? So the last point is seasonality. We don't want to go ahead and go for a product that's seasonal. And a perfect example of seasonal is a Christmas tree, okay? If you look at the Google Trends, and I might make a video about looking at Google Trends. If you look at the seasonality of Christmas trees, okay, what you're going to see is for the whole year, nothing, 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 Christmas, nothing, 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 nothing. You don't want to sell that product because you're going to be selling nothing for the majority of the year, okay? If you find like a more, like that's a very extreme case of seasonality, okay? That's probably one of the most extreme cases you're ever going to get. If you're selling, like find another product that does, like, okay, it jumps up, it jumps up, jumps up, then it goes right down and it does nothing, then it jumps up again, then it does nothing. That's still seasonal some months of the year, okay? Where I kind of bypass this rule, if I find a product that does well, say, let's say 8 months of the year, okay? It's up here 8 months of the year, and this is the bottom point. If it's doing this, okay, this is the top point, okay? It's doing really well, really well, really well, and then it's off months where it's not doing as well. It drops down to maybe this point, midway, okay? And it does around 50% of what it normally does. That's fine. I don't care if it does that because it's still doing well in its off months. Where I don't want to go into this is if it drops down to 0, okay? Or if it drops down very, very low. But if it does really well and it drops down to 50%, that does really well in again, if you average that out throughout the year, it's going to be the same as a product that does this the entire year, okay? Does the exact same sales every single month. So it might affect your cash flow, but to me, I don't really care. It doesn't matter. If I'm going to make 30,000 a month selling a product that does the exact same every month, or I'm going to sell 30,000, did I say a month? 30,000 a year doing a product that sells 500 units a month, or if I'm going to do 30,000 a year doing a product that does 1,000 a couple of months, then does 250 other months, I don't care. I'm getting 30,000 at the end of the year. It doesn't bother me. You have to look at it in these kind of perspectives, and you can't go for one rule fits all, okay? So this is like a very, very in-depth, guys. Of course, I hope you've learned from this, and I hope you can now go away and try and find products for yourselves. Obviously, the next couple of videos I'm going to do are really going to back up this and reinforce it. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. What did you think of this video? Comment below. How do you think the course is when you've seen this single video? Of course, the course video is probably more in-depth than this one. So comment below what you think of this video. Do you like it? Should I do more in-depth ones like this? Any response, guys, it is really honestly appreciated, okay? Give the video a thumbs up. Share it to your friends. Obviously, I want to grow the YouTube channel. I'm completely like complacent about that. I want to grow the YouTube channel. I want to share as much as I can with everyone. So I do honestly really appreciate it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one.